Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. This is the Wealth Mindset and Real Estate Investing virtual meetup. I am your host of the Wealth Mindset and Real Estate Investing meetup, but we have a special guest today, and I'll be getting to that in just a moment. My name is Chris Price. I'm also managing partner at Boost Capital Group and the CEO and co-founder of Red Fox Multifamily. So before we jump in, let me give you a little bit of background about who we are. The Wealth Mindset and Real Estate Investing Meetup is open to all who are interested in growing generational wealth through passive real estate investing and increasing their financial intelligence. This meetup is for the busy professionals and retirees across various industries. The individuals in the group make up a good living and have discretionary income to invest in real estate for its proven wealth potential power, but don't always have the time and skill set or network to do it at speed and at scale. This meetup focuses on helping us all grow our wealth mindset by learning how to build and preserve wealth while developing and maintaining an abundance mindset. This meetup will focus on multifamily real estate investing as well as other proven ways to build wealth through real estate, through passive investments. And it's sponsored by Red Fox Multifamily. Red Fox Multifamily helps pharmaceutical and life science industry professionals diversify their portfolios, add passive income, and get all of the other perks of real estate investing without having to do any of the work themselves. Red Fox Multifamily partners with passive investors to buy commercial multifamily real estate based on vetted opportunities we get access to from our trusted network of top operators in the best markets throughout the country. Partnering with Red Fox Multifamily makes investing in real estate completely hands-off, allowing investors to add passive income, build equity, and save on taxes, all while being in an investment which is backed by a hard asset. And then finally, last but not least, we're sponsored by Boost Capital Group. And Boost Capital Group, our vision is to become the premier partner for busy professionals and entrepreneurs seeking to build and preserve their wealth through passive real estate investments. If you want to connect with me, you can reach out to me at chris@boostmycapital.com, or you can scan the QR code and get all my contact information. Looking forward to speaking with you. One more logistical thing, let me just go through here. What we'll do, we'll have our speaker introduction here in just a moment. We'll also go through a speaker presentation where I will hand it over to our guest speaker tonight. She'll take us through some details of what she wants to talk to us about, and then we'll have some time for Q&A, and then if necessary, if possible, we'll have some time for virtual networking. Right? So other logistics here, just make sure that you mute your lines when you're not speaking. If you can, hold your questions to the end of the presentation unless the speaker invites you to join in and speak right away. This presentation is being recorded, as I mentioned at the beginning. So if you do not prefer to be recorded, you may leave and receive the recording via email. This material does not constitute an offer or solicitation to purchase securities, and this is for information only and should not be construed as business, financial, or legal advice. All right. So now, as we've gotten through all the logistical stuff, let me introduce to you our guest speaker tonight, Miss Jessica Sanders. Great person all the way around, and I'm looking forward to all of you learning from her this evening about how to create health goals this year. This was not our common core as it relates to topics that we typically discuss from our virtual meetup. But when I think about broadly wealth mindset, I think about health and wellness as well. And so this was a no-brainer to me when I thought about how can we really kick off the year and get things going. I think a lot of people, when they're starting off the new year, they're looking at ways that they can promote their fitness. They want to get their bodies active and take care of their health. And so this to me was something that really just resonated. So I thought it would be great to have Jessica on to talk about how to create goals and stick to them and be consistent. Before we hand it over to Jessica, let me provide you with a little bit of background on her. Jessica Sanders is a woman's body recomposition and nutrition coach who helps busy moms reclaim their strength, confidence, and energy through sustainable health practices. With more than 20 years of experience as a NICU nurse, Jessica brings a unique blend of clinical expertise and real-world understanding to her coaching approach. She specializes in women's health, especially busy moms, creates realistic health routines that fit seamlessly into demanding lives. Her methodology centers on strength training, balanced nutrition, and mindset shifts, empowering women to transform their bodies without extreme dieting or excessive cardio. Jessica launched her health coaching business 4 years ago and has since helped countless women break free from chronic dieting cycles while building lasting confidence and strength. Her nursing background made the transition into coaching natural extension of her passion for helping others thrive. Outside of coaching, often be found driving her three boys to sports activities, enjoying great food, and proving that moms can lift heavy and feel amazing at any stage of life. She shares practical health tips with us today. She's going to motivate busy moms and dads. She's active on Instagram and TikTok at Firm and Fit with Jess, and on Facebook at Jessica Christina Sanders. I encourage you all to follow her, but please join me in welcoming Miss Jessica Sanders. Jessica, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Chris. That was such a warm welcome. I appreciate it. I definitely want this to be interactive. I don't want to just talk. So just chime in. I'm definitely going to ask you questions, Chris.
Yes,
Since
you
I
got
can
it.
see
I'm
you.
ready.
All right. So did you make a New Year's resolution?
Yeah, I do make New Year's resolutions or goals, really. I do
Okay.
every year. I'm very thoughtful about it. It's not just a one-day thing, it's a multi-day thing. So I definitely get active about it. I'm very passionate about goal setting.
Oh, I love that's awesome because a lot of times we'll make these health resolutions. I'm gonna get healthy in 2026. I want to lose 50 pounds this year. You sign up for that gym membership. I'm a constant gym goer, so you will see this influx in January. And then by February, March, it dwindles, and then you see the lifers, the ones that are always
Yes.
there day after day. Instead of making this large goal of, oh, I want to get healthier, I want to lose 50 pounds, I want you to make a more specific goal, right? Something that you can stick to. So, first, I always like to tell my clients, what's your why? Why do you want this right now? A lot of times we go to the doctor and we get like a bad diagnosis, or a mom or dad really can't run around with their young kids anymore, or you're just tired of always being tired. Usually there's something that happens to you, or you just had a baby and you want to lose them. Yeah, that happens after you have a baby. There's just so many reasons. But I always tell people, think about that why, because it's going to get hard. And when it gets hard, you want to have that why in the front of your mind so that you can think, this is why I'm doing it. I'm doing it so that I can run around with my kids. I'm doing it so I'm not pre-diabetic anymore. I'm doing it so that I can lower my blood pressure, stuff like that.
Yeah. Jess, do you want to share your screen and share your presentation?
Okay, cool. So we've got all these different whys, and I just put this map of the US just to raise awareness because a lot of people don't. We hear about the staggering amounts of obesity in the US, but when you see it on a map, it really paints a picture. So as you can see, in green would be less than 20% of a state being obese, and there's no green. It is all yellow, orange, bright orange. And so the lowest amount is yellow, which is 25 to 30% of Americans are obese. And so that's staggering to think about where we're heading as a country, that most of us are overweight. And then it also trickles down to our children, how we're raising them to eat and to move their bodies. And so I always like to talk about making a SMART goal. Have you ever heard of a SMART goal, Chris?
I have heard of SMART goals.
Right.
Big deal in corporate
Yeah.
America for sure to really help people focus and lock in on what it is they're actually trying to achieve. But I'm not familiar in the context of health and
Health, making
wellness.
a goal. Yeah. So a SMART goal, right? Making a goal that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. making that broad goal of I want to get healthy in 2026 isn't really going to do anything if you don't have action behind it. For example, I'm going to strength train 3 days a week, right? That's specific.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and eat protein at every meal, right? That's specific. And then how do we measure that? The amount of times we're working out or our daily step count. We can check that on our phones now. Everyone's got a phone or a watch. You can track the amount of steps that you take in a day, right? So there's ways that you can measure your activity. And then you want it to be achievable, right? We don't want to make these crazy outlandish goals of I'm going to go work out 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, when you know you don't have the time for that. If you're a busy mom with a full-time job, there's no way you can work out for 2 hours. But what if you say, I'm going to work out for 30 minutes at home? That's something you can do, right? You can squeeze out 30 minutes of your day to get a quick workout in. That's more achievable. And we want it to be relevant, right? We want it to be something that's going to help you get more energy, something that's going to help you with your hormones and your overall long-term health. And then you want it to be timely. Just saying, I'm going to get healthy in 2026. By February, March, you're going to be tired of being healthy. You're going to fall off, and that's it. It's going to be done. But instead, putting a timeline. In the next 8 weeks, I'm going to drink more water. By March 2026, I'm going to increase my step count. Something that's got a time frame behind it. So a smart goal would be, I'm going to strength train 3 days a week for 30 minutes for the next 12 weeks. It's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and it's timely. So the way I like to break it down is by forming habits, right? Forming habits that are going to be sustainable and give you longevity. So focusing on working out, water, steps, sleep, and nutrition. Those are the main goals that I like to hone in on. Chris, what do you think the average American walks a day? How many?
Oh my goodness. Based on the map that you showed and how overweight we are as a nation, I would say, and always hear about 10,000 steps is the recommended or the amount of steps one could get per day. You could probably challenge me on that, whether it's myth or reality. The average person between 5 and 7, is that close?
5 and 7 would be a good end. 4 to 5,000
Wow.
is what the average American gets a day. Think about it. A lot of us have sedentary jobs, right? We're sitting down most of the day. And so we're just not moving our bodies enough anymore. But yeah, the recommended is 7 to 10,000 steps a day.
I try to get myself active, especially in my corporate life or my entrepreneurial life. I can do a lot of desk work, but I do try to find myself, instead of taking the elevator, let me go and walk down the stairs or up the stairs, just those types of little habits.
Yeah, parking your car farther away when you go to the grocery store or the mall or something. Even though your kids are gonna whine and why are you parking so far away? Why are you making us walk? Because we're old, kids. We're old and we need to walk. Your metabolism is quick, but we are doing those little things. And actually, I just invested in a walking pad. They're super affordable. I got it off Amazon for 150 bucks, I think. And listen, 30 minutes a day here and there, it adds up and it makes a difference. Just something to think about with the
Yeah.
cold weather now. And my husband was like, hey, why you don't need a walking pad, just go outside and walk. And I'm like, I am not getting out in this 30-degree weather.
I wish it was 30 down, 30
Oh,
up here, but yeah, I think yeah, 30 degrees is still freezing and it's good idea. You got your walking pad and you can keep yourself moving in between things.
yeah, in between meetings or just scrolling, whatever. You can just get on your walking pad for 30 minutes. My husband, he thinks I'm funny, but so I don't know if Allison told you, but my goal this year is to do a bodybuilding show. I don't
Yeah,
know.
she did
She
mention
did.
that. Yes.
Okay. So I have to walk 12,000 steps a day.
Oh boy.
So yeah, it is. At first, it was daunting because I've only done up to 10, unless you're on vacation and you're walking or something like that. But on a normal day to day, getting 10,000 steps is hard. So the walking pad has definitely helped out a lot with that.
I've actually seen that in some of the content that you put on social media. I see your lower half moving, and I'm like, what is she doing? Is it like a walking treadmill?
It's like a
Yeah.
treadmill. The only thing, it doesn't have a bar, but they do have some that have bars you can hold on to. Mine doesn't incline. There are some that incline just a little bit. I definitely wouldn't run on it. It's not as sturdy as a treadmill, but for 150 bucks to get some steps in warm weather, I think it's pretty good. Next, working out, getting some workouts in, improve your hormonal balance, boost your metabolism, and give you an overall mental boost. Anytime you get a workout in, it's like you never regret a workout, right? You always get this high, you feel amazing afterwards. I always tell women, especially as we're aging, strength training is the best thing you can do to support your bone health. As we age, our bones start to get brittle and we start to develop osteoporosis. So strength training is so important for that. It's going to give you more energy. It's going to help you sleep. Overall, strength training is the best thing you can do as a woman and a man, especially if you want to create shape or change your body type. Creating muscle is what does that, right? It creates shape. And cardio will help you burn the fat. Lifting weights is what's going to give you that shape.
Yeah, I think that's such an interesting point that you bring up because, when typically, in some conversations that I've had with women about weight training, they may shy away from it because they feel that they're gonna get too bulky or something like that, and not realizing, like you were just saying, that you're training to go to a fitness competition, but the type of lifting that one has to do in order to put on real muscle like that is probably insane. But can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, not only that, but women, we don't have the testosterone that men do to get bulky. Like a lot of the women that you see bodybuilding in physique, the big women, they're usually taking some kind of steroid, some kind of testosterone to get that muscle. We're just not capable of getting that. You don't
Right.
just get that big by accident. And the amount of food you have to eat, I don't think women understand how training and nutrition go hand in hand. You have to eat a certain way to get that big, a certain amount of calories to get that big. And women, I'm sure with diet culture, you understand that women don't want to eat. They're scared to eat bread, they're scared to eat pasta. Diet culture just has us all confused about carbs and just eating in general.
And you also talked about cardio. So you talked about a combination of weight training and cardio. Is there such a thing as maybe overdoing it on cardio for women out there, or is there like the right balance?
Definitely. So cardio, if you are trying to gain muscle and lose body fat, you definitely want to have some cardio involved, but it shouldn't be the bulk of your training. Your training should be strength training, and then after you strength train, you're going to go into your cardio. And that depends on your nutrition as well, right? Because the calories that are going into your body, you can either work it out doing cardio or you can eat less. So if there's a fine balance. That's why it's always good to work with a nutritionist or a coach that can help you figure out if you need to eat less or you need to do more cardio, because you can work with both of them. So doing a lot of cardio can also burn you out, right?
Right.
You're going to get exhausted and you're not going to see the results that you would see if you're strength training. When you're building muscles, your cells are working when you're sleeping. You're burning calories when you're sleeping. I don't think people understand that,
Right.
right? Because you're in the gym tearing that muscle apart when you're lifting weight. But when you're sleeping, your body is working to repair, right? And you feel
Right.
those little
Right.
twitches all over your body. That's your cells working to heal itself and build that muscle. And you're burning calories while that's happening. When you get off that treadmill of cardio, that's it. You're done burning calories. So strength training is way more beneficial, but yeah, also there needs to be a fine balance on cardio and strength training depending on what type of body type you're trying to achieve. But cardio is always good for heart health, for longevity. It's always good to do some form of cardio. For sure. And then water. Water is super important. I think as a nation, we're just so consumed with soda and juice, and we're just not getting enough water in our system. Water is so important for your metabolism, for your appetite regulation. It's going to help you with your workout performance, your hormones and digestion, your joints, your skin, your mood. I always tell people when you get up in the morning, your first drink should not be coffee. It should be water. That should be
Mm.
your first drink, is to have some water. It does wonders.
I've heard about this, the dehydrated feeling that people have when they wake up in the morning, like it's not by mistake, and your body actually needs that water right away. And I've heard various things from people just going, having a glass of water with some special supplements in it, or maybe lemon water. Do you have a preference? Is it, or just straight
Oh,
up water? Do you have a preference on from your point of view?
yeah. I love lemon water. Sometimes I'll add cucumber and I'll feel like I'm at the spa, little
Yeah.
cucumber water. But also, I'll add my creatine to my water at the beginning of the day. And then I'll also sprinkle a little bit of salt in there, a little pink Himalayan salt. And that's supposed to help draw in the water into your cells, because sometimes you drink water and you still feel dehydrated. So adding that little bit of salt can help draw in that water into your cells.
Got it.
Yeah. And some people are like, I don't like the taste, or I just can't seem to make a habit out of it. But just pair it with anything else that you do. If you're working out, have your water with you. If you're sitting at a desk at meetings, have your water with you. Just pair it with other things that you're doing. You can also use a straw. Like, I can't just gulp water. Now everyone's got those Stanley cups.
Yes.
You know, so just it's so easy to drink out of a straw. So just
Yes,
drink
there's no
and just
excuses for anyone.
it really isn't that hard. You just have to make a habit out of it. And it just takes time, and that's okay. Everything takes time and you build on it. How much water do you think we should be drinking a day?
72 ounces?
The idea is half your body weight in ounces
Oh boy.
is what your body needs. Our bodies are mostly made of water.
Right.
So I drink about 3 of these a day, and this is the 30-ounce jug. So I drink about 90 ounces a day.
90 ounces a day. I'm way under. I need to increase my water intake for sure.
Definitely.
I would say I'm between 72 on a good day. I can get up to 96, because to your point, when I'm working out, I try to really focus on, I'm going to finish this the water bottle before I'm done with this workout. And then before I go shower, I'm going to finish another one. Just those types of things, and get it into that habit. I think where I lack is throughout the day and not carrying it with me. I think that's the trick that could help
Yes.
me consume more water.
I tell my clients, your water bottle should be your best friend. It should be with you at all times.
Yeah, I need to do that. If it's with me, then I can have that sip of water. When I work from home, just thinking practically for people, some people work from home, like they can have that. I do see some folks, some of my coworkers will carry their water bottles around just like they're carrying a coffee mug around, like in the office. And yeah, it's about creating those habits. And I think that's the key word that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, definitely. And nowadays, you can add these flavored electrolytes to the water if you don't like the taste of water, if you need some flavor to it. You can
Mhm.
always add that. They sell those at the store. So we need to be more intentional about it. As we were talking about steps, getting more steps in, walking is going to reduce stress. It's going to help lower cortisol, help calm our nervous system. There's just so much that walking and getting your steps in can do. It improves not women not burning out from either running or the stair mill. I see women that do you know what the stair mill is? The stairs.
Yes, yes,
Have you ever done that?
yes, that's hard work.
That is hard work.
Hard
I've seen
work.
women do that for like an hour, 30 minutes. I'm like, how? How? I just,
Yes.
I can't do it. My favorite form of cardio is walking. It's easy on the knees. It's easy to do. It's accessible to everyone. You can, like I said, you can go outside and walk, or you can walk inside your house. It's just so easy to do.
So tell me about this. Like when it comes to walking, am I walking to try and get to a certain heart rate or can people think about, I know oftentimes these watches or fitness devices have different zones, like zone
Yeah.
one or zone two. Am I
Yeah.
trying to achieve a certain zone or what's my goal when I'm walking?
If you're doing cardio, you definitely want to be in like zone two. Zone three and four would be like doing a HIIT workout. Your heart rate's going to be super high for a short amount of time. And then you're going to slow down. And that you're going to burn out from that pretty quickly. But if you stick to zone two, that's going to be a really good pace. You're not going to burn out. You're going to be able to do a good 30 minutes at that pace. And your heart rate will be probably around 140, which is like a good range.
Right.
And then sleep. Getting enough sleep is so important. How much sleep do you think we should be getting a night, Chris?
Oh man, I think I read a book a couple of years ago because and before I answer this question, I'll just lay the groundwork because I am not the best person when it comes to sleep and I've committed to being much better and I have gotten much better than the 4 to 5 hours of sleep that I was getting a couple of years ago to more of the 6 to 8 range. But I think what is recommended is 8 hours of sleep at a minimum six, but I think eight is recommended. Is that in the ballpark?
Yeah, 7 to 9 is
Uh,
7 hours, you're golden. Yeah. And it's hard, especially if you've got young kids. We've still got kids coming into the bed at night, breaking up
mhm.
our sleep. So I get it. It's tough to get that 7 hours, but it's so important, right? It's going to help us with cravings, not having those cravings at night for sweets or salty. It's going to help you with your energy, obviously. And like we
Mhm.
said earlier, it's going to help with your muscle growth. If you're trying to get those gains and you're not sleeping, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're leaving gains on the table. You really got to get that sleep. And try and create a bedtime routine, just like we do with babies when we bathe them, we read to them, we kind of set the mood, getting their bodies ready to sleep, letting them know it's time to sleep. You got to do the same thing for yourself.
Yeah.
Put the phone down 30 minutes to an hour before bed. Get some blackout curtains, maybe no TV, maybe just reading a book for a little bit. You got to set the mood and get your body ready to sleep.
I'm a big believer in all those things, including one of the things that I've started doing over the past couple of years is drinking herbal teas or nighttime teas.
And
And
nighttime
I
tea,
find
yeah.
that to be like my sort of calming, like evening part of my bedtime routine is
Yeah.
definitely, those are great tips. I've also heard of if your room is dry, you want to have a humidifier. Maybe you can share a little bit about your thoughts on things like melatonin, because I cannot say that I've had trouble sleeping, and maybe some women out there do have trouble sleeping, and so they need a little sleep aids, whether that's
Yeah.
pharmaceutical grade or supplements. But what are your thoughts on some of those things?
I definitely think there comes a point in as we age in perimenopause and the menopause where women have trouble sleeping and they start having the night sweats with these hormonal changes and it can be disruptive. So definitely if you need some melatonin, it's definitely fine. Relying on a pharmaceutical aid, they can become addicting and your body can rely on it. So if you can start with more holistic route, doing all what we said before, maybe trying some melatonin before going that way, because that's going to be an expensive sleep aid after a while. If you continue and continue to need, our bodies get used to it, and then you probably need more. To each his own, you make your own informed decision, but I would definitely try other ways first, for sure.
Makes sense.
And then definitely nutrition is key, right? Nutrition, we need to be consuming adequate protein. You need to be having enough calories and making sure you're getting those micronutrients, so fruits and vegetables, to get those gains or lose that fat or whatever your goal is health wise. Definitely protein is your main. You should really be focusing on protein, especially for women. Most people think that they're getting enough protein in, but once you start to track, you really notice I'm not getting enough protein in.
Right.
Mhm.
For me, I think one of the things, and I know this through you and through Allison and training with you, the protein intake. One of that was so like revealing to me as someone, I'm an athlete, a former athlete, going through all these things. And of course, I feel like I pay attention to my fitness and all the
Mhm.
things, but maybe never tracked it to that level of detail. And I thought that was fascinating, just the water, everything from the things that you're talking about, the water intake, the protein, the sleep. The other thing that came up, and maybe you'll talk a little bit about this, that I thought was really interesting that I had never really done was about macros. Maybe it's probably a whole separate presentation that you could probably go into that, but maybe you can share a little light on this idea of not idea, but macros and how that plays into the nutrition aspect.
Yeah, so macros are macronutrients, and so that is your protein, your carbs, and your fat. And pretty much breaking your food into those three categories. Like I said, depending on what your goal is, if your goal is weight loss, if your goal is muscle gain, there's different amounts you should be consuming. But for the most part, you want it to be nutritious whole foods. And really, tracking it or measuring it just ensures that you know how much you're getting and you can make changes accordingly, right? So if you're eating a certain amount and you're not putting on the muscle that you want, maybe we need to increase the amount that we're eating. If you're eating a certain amount and your body's just not responding, you're not seeing the scale go down or the body change that you want, maybe we need to decrease the amount of macros that you're consuming. So it's just a way to make changes.
Got it.
And then tracking, especially for women, the most common way we track is the scale. We get on the scale. If it doesn't move, we get discouraged. We get on again. It's still not moving. So I always tell my clients, take a picture. Take a picture in different poses, in good lighting, in kind of the same attire, so that you can really see differences because pictures will tell you more than the scale will. The scale's not telling you if you're retaining water, if you're overly stressed, if you're not sleeping. All that makes you retain water. If you're in the gym constantly and you're building muscle, the scale doesn't tell you you've got more muscle on. There's a change in body composition, but the scale's not telling you that. So I always tell women, take pictures, see how your clothes are fitting. Maybe your shorts are fitting a little looser. Maybe you've got more energy. Or you can just measure yourself, right? Take your measuring tape, measure your arms, your legs, your hips, your waist, and you can check progress that way. But just using the scale as a form of measurement is discouraging sometimes, for
No, you're
sure.
so right. And I think about this for women, again, a child of the 80s and seeing my mom do these crash diets. And that was the thing back in the day. And other women around me, and it's all over TV and Richard Simmons and all the things, right? Those are things that I can play back in my head and like how people track their fitness and their gains or not. And maybe there's also oftentimes like an illusion in people's minds that they think, oh, I just ran on the treadmill for an hour. I'm going to jump off and weigh myself. And yeah, maybe
Yeah.
there's water weight loss, but what's a realistic frequency that people should be tracking their body composition?
I definitely feel like in the morning, after you've done your business, is the best time once a day. You don't need to weigh yourself 3 times a day. That's going to be discouraging. As we go on the day, we're eating, we're getting bloated, we're putting on weight. So in the morning is the best time. You're going to be the lightest. So yeah, once a day in the morning is fine. And that's it. That's all I got.
Well, Jess, that this was awesome. I have so many questions to follow up on. I hope we can jump into a couple of those things because you said so many amazing things and shared a lot of great insights. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was you talked a little bit about frequency of training. Some people can train for maybe that your busy moms out there, they're out there and they're thinking, man, how can I get this exercise in? I really want to do it. I've set my goals. I'm getting after it, but how can I set up a routine? And I wanted to ask you from your professional advice and opinion, What's optimal out there for women? If I'm a busy mom and I'm looking to achieve my goals of being more fit in 2026, how many days a week should I be working out and strength training? Is it 3 days a week? Is it five? What are you thinking there?
It depends on where you're at. If you are a newbie, you've never worked out before, this is something totally new to you, we're going to start with what's doable, right? And you've got kids, and if only one day, you can only fit one day, so be it. Do that one day. Now, I do tell my clients if you want to see results, I recommend 3 days a week of working out. But like I said, we start where we can, right? If we don't have the time and we're just super busy, we start with one day, we start with 2 days, and we work our way up. Once they start to see their body change and they start to feel the energy shift, they get excited, and then oh, I got to add that third day in. I got to fit it in. Where can I squeeze in that third day? Maybe when my kids go to bed, I can get a quick 30-minute workout. Or maybe when I get the kids off the bus, I can get a quick 30-minute workout. It just depends on the person and where they're at. For me to get on stage, I'm working out 4 days a week. I'm doing cardio 3 days a week. The demand is a lot higher.
Got it. No, this is great. Now, one of the things that I'm very aware of in today's environment is all of these obesity drugs and medications that are out there where people are maybe thinking that there's a shortcut to this whole thing and these medications can help them get there. But I think I've seen in my observation, like time and time again, if people aren't disciplined, if they haven't tacked on proper nutrition and exercise, then weight loss goals that they achieved through taking these medications were short-lived, I guess I would say, and they
Yeah.
go right back to where they were. What are your thoughts on some of the things that are going out there with some of the obesity medications, and where does fitness play a role in that for you?
I think the GLP-1s are definitely not going away. I think they're definitely necessary for a lot of Americans that are obese that can't also strength train, because with weight coming off, you're going to be left with a lot of loose skin, depending on how obese you are. And so the only way to help that skin get elasticity is to put muscle into it to
Right.
fill it up. And so I definitely think there needs to be habits around nutrition, proper nutrition, because there are side effects, unfortunately, from these GLP-1s. Women are complaining of hair loss, of intestinal issues, and stuff like that, having dull skin, and just all these other things that come with GLP-1. Sure, you lost the weight, but you feel miserable because your hair is falling out. Like it's definitely needed for some Americans, but it is, some people are abusing it and using it as a shortcut for sure.
Sure, and I see a lot out there that they definitely do play a role in our healthcare, right? And there are people who desperately need these medications, but there's an old saying that there are no shortcuts in life, and you got to put the hard work in. Part of fitness and nutrition and training and achieving that body that you want or the lifestyle that you want, it requires work. The medications, take them if they're appropriate for you and talk to your physician, but make sure that you put the work in. The good old walk, shoe leather express if you're walking, or get on that walking pad or get to the gym and pump some iron. Those things will do wonders.
Definitely.
So you talked about a why and you've gone through the presentation you shared. And of course, it's hard to see the presentation when those pictures and you're buff and all the things. And people are wondering, well, Jess, like, what's the deal with that? What got you into fitness in the first place? What are the things that drove you? What's your why in terms of why you got into the space?
I've always been into fitness since I was in my 20s. I've always loved to be active. Definitely, I had highs and lows. As I had children, it definitely slowed down. The pivotal point for me was after having children. My body was not the same as it was in my 20s. Yes, I lost the baby weight, but the fat distribution got distributed in places it was never before. As I could not figure out how to get my body, the fat distribution down, and I didn't understand how to get muscle. And so after I had Carter, I told my husband, I said, I think I need to get a coach. And he said, what do you mean? You always exercise. You know what you're doing. I said, I don't think I'm doing all the things I used to do and it's just not working, right? And so it wasn't until I got myself a coach and realized, huh, this is what I need to be doing. Because I always loved nutrition back when I was in nursing school and I took that nutrition class. Hindsight's 2020. I feel like I should have been a dietitian because I just
Ah,
loved nutrition. That class was just, that teacher was so passionate and I just learned so much from her. And yeah, I told my husband after that, I said, I need to get a coach because I need to learn how I can change my body now that after I've had children, because it's just different. And so that's where I learned the importance of strength training, the importance of protein tracking, and all that.
I have a few other questions for you that I ask every guest that
Okay.
comes onto the show. So I'm going to ask you as well. And they run the gamut across different things. So I'm interested in hearing some of your responses. And I would say I'm an active follower of you. So I know that you like to travel. Maybe you can shed some light and share what was one of the best trips that you've taken and why.
Oh my gosh. So I recently went to Guatemala for the first time. I'm half Guatemalan, half Puerto Rican. I just 44 years old and I just never went to Guatemala. My mom came to the US when she was 14. And so back in the 90s or early 2000s, she went back and she took my siblings. I was at the time in nursing school and couldn't miss school. So I missed out. So I just recently went and oh my gosh, if you've never
Wow.
been to Central America, Guatemala is just gorgeous. It is
Wow.
beautiful, it's breathtaking. Just the beauty of the country, the people are just super nice. And honestly, the dollar takes you far there. It really does. It was just amazing. I loved it. And I told my husband, I'm like, we need to go back in December. I want to go back. I want to take the kids. I want to hike the volcano.
Yeah.
There's erupting volcanoes still in
Oh my
Guatemala.
goodness.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's amazing. And the connection back to the motherland, back to
Yes.
your culture and your roots and all those
Yeah,
things. So what an amazing trip, an amazing way. I'm sure it like there was beyond just the physical connection of being on the
visual.
ground, but the spiritual connection for
Yes,
sure.
for sure. Yeah.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about, so you're working on a lot of things. You're a busy mom,
Yeah.
you're the kid, your wife, your sister, daughter, you've got your business, you're a nurse. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're working on these days that you're most excited about.
I'm excited about getting on stage, to be honest, to fulfill this dream and be able to do it. It takes a lot. It's a lot of time, a lot of dedication. So that right now is my main focus. I definitely still promote my business and I definitely want to help women achieve their goals. But right now, my main focus is getting on stage and being competitive. I don't want to just say, oh, this is a bucket list thing and that's it. No, I want to get up there and show that I put in the work and that I deserve to be up there.
So that's just some true discipline. And what's the big date for the show?
So I have to talk to my coach, but we're thinking July, which I didn't want to go into the summer. I wanted to be able to enjoy the summer. But you know what? That's just with all the kids' events and everything. And my coach is also, she's a fit model pro. So she's doing shows herself. And I
Right.
definitely want her support and I want her to be there with me. So I think July is where we're looking at.
You got this. I know you're going to crush it. I'm looking forward to seeing the results for sure.
Thank you.
The show that we have here is typically about real estate investing, financial wealth building type of things. And we talk about the idea of financial freedom and those types of things. I wonder, I know we're talking about health and wellness. When you think about something like the idea of financial freedom, what does financial freedom mean to you?
Financial freedom to me means having the time, right? Having the free time to travel, to not be punching in at a 9 to 5 or 7 to 7 like I do. Those 12 hours are really long and I miss out a lot on the kids' activities. So having the time and the freedom to work around my kids' schedule and not have to punch in a clock for me would be financial freedom.
Absolutely. That leads to the last question that I have, which is another one that I ask folks. And the name of the show is Wealth Mindset for Real Estate Investing. That wealth mindset part, when we were going through naming this show, I was like, what can I do? I was in this journey about the abundance mindset and really investing in myself. And that has so many different connotations to me. I love asking people this question because a wealth mindset can mean many different things to different people. But what does having a wealth mindset mean to you?
I think, like you said, working on yourself, improving, finding areas where you can improve. So just investing and real estate, and that's something I would love to learn more about. I keep telling Vic, we need to talk to Chris. We need to figure this out because we don't all want to work our 9 to 5 forever. We want to be investing and having different capital, be able to live, like I said, without that time stamp, like we have to be punching in a clock, having just free time. So working on myself, being able to invest in myself, whether that be in therapy or self-help and that kind of area, or investing in a business coach or something like that to help me get my business going. So having a wealth mindset is being able to invest in yourself.
Yeah, I love it. And I think about that so much because, that wealth mindset and the things that investment in yourself is so key. There was a mentor that I had a while ago that said, Chris, they asked me the question, what's your biggest investment? And I went through all the different things and they're like, no, you're your number one investment. And that wealth mindset and being and approaching everything that you do with that mindset is such a key thing. So thank you so much for sharing your perspective on this. What I'm going to do now is just ask you the last question and then wrap things up. Where can people find you? I see you have some of the social media here, but maybe you could tell where the best to find you. And if they want to learn more, what should they do?
Beacons.ai/fit and firm with Jess. You'll find all the links there. If coaching is something you've been thinking about and you're ready to make that investment in yourself, you'll find an application there. But yeah, you can find me everywhere on Instagram and TikTok at Fit and Firm with Jess, and then on Facebook at Jessica Christina Sanders.
Oh, fantastic. Jessica, thank you so much for being here tonight and for sharing all of this great information. This recording is going to get edited. We're going to send it out to the email list, of course, and then help spread it across social media so people can learn and hopefully reach out to you to learn more about everything. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here tonight. I'll end the recording, and then if Jacqueline has any questions, she can ask from there. Thank you very much.